The Munich Allianz Arena stood like a glowing red jewel against the dark, chilly German night, its iconic outer shell radiating a warmth that seemed to match the electric energy pulsing through the thousands of fans gathered inside. Amidst the sea of roaring football enthusiasts, three of the world's most recognizable figures sat quietly in a private box, hoping to blend into the shadows of the massive stadium. Namjoon, Taehyung, and Jungkook had sought out this brief escape from their relentless global schedule, looking for a moment of normal life in the heart of Europe. Yet, as the match began and the crowd roared to life, the atmosphere in their private suite shifted from simple spectating to something far more intimate, playful, and deeply emotional. The heavy chill of the Munich night air was completely forgotten as Taehyung and Jungkook settled close together, their laughter bubbling up over the ambient noise of the stadium, instantly drawing the attention of anyone lucky enough to catch a glimpse of them. There was a unique, unspoken language between the two youngest members of the group, a bond forged through years of shared dreams, immense pressure, and an unbreakable brotherhood that the world had watched blossom. As the football match intensified, Taehyung seemed less interested in the ball on the pitch and far more focused on the boy sitting right next to him, his eyes crinkling with a warmth that could melt the coldest winter. Jungkook, usually the fierce and competitive athlete, softened completely under Taehyung's gaze, leaning into his space with a comfortable familiarity that spoke volumes about their deep connection. They shared a single wool blanket wrapped around their shoulders to shield themselves from the biting wind, a small gesture that closed the distance between them and created a quiet sanctuary of their own amidst the chaotic, screaming stadium. Every time the crowd erupted into a cheer, they would lean in closer, whispering secrets and sharing private jokes that made Jungkook throw his head back in pure, unbridled laughter. The defining moment of the night unfolded with a sudden, breathless magic that seemed to slow down the entire stadium. During a particularly tense play on the field, with the tension in the arena stretched to its absolute limit, a near-miss goal sent a wave of collective disappointment through the crowd, but in the BTS suite, it triggered a beautiful, chaotic spark of joy. Reacting in perfect, instinctual harmony, Taehyung turned to Jungkook with a wide, boxy smile and playfully grabbed his hands, pulling him into a sudden, mock-dramatic slow dance right there in the front row of their box. The sheer tenderness of the moment was undeniable as Jungkook caught Taehyung's waist to steady him, their eyes locked in a gaze of pure affection that seemed to shut out the thousands of screaming fans around them. It was a fleeting, unscripted display of pure happiness, a romantic and deeply moving testament to how they could find absolute comfort and joy in each other's presence, regardless of where they were in the world. Sitting just a few feet away, Namjoon was caught completely off guard by this sudden outbreak of theatrical romance, and his reaction was nothing short of priceless. The leader of the world's biggest group, who had been intently analyzing the football tactics on the field with his usual intellectual focus, turned his head only to find his two younger brothers lost in their own beautiful, chaotic world. His eyes widened in utter disbelief, a mixture of shock, amusement, and fond exasperation washing over his face as he realized just how dramatically they were ignoring the actual game. For a few seconds, Namjoon simply stared at them, his mouth slightly open, before letting out a helpless laugh and burying his face in his hands in a classic gesture of affectionate defeat. It was the ultimate big brother reaction, a moment of pure comedic contrast that highlighted the beautiful dynamic of their chosen family, where even the grandest stadium in Germany could become a playground for love and laughter. As the night wore on and the stadium lights eventually began to dim, the memory of that brief, beautiful interlude lingered in the air like a sweet melody. For the fans who witnessed it, and for anyone who understood the depth of what these young men had been through together, the moment was far more than just a viral highlight. It was a poignant reminder that despite the unimaginable weight of their global fame, the endless scrutiny, and the constant demands of their careers, the core of who they were remained completely untouched. In the heart of Munich, under the glowing canopy of the Allianz Arena, they were just three friends sharing a cold night, anchored by a bond that was resilient, deeply emotional, and utterly beautiful to behold. The soft, ambient hum of the Munich night seemed to grow louder, but within the confines of their private viewing box, the world had shrunk to the space of a few feet. As the second half of the match got underway, the initial shock on Namjoon's face transitioned into a quiet, protective watchfulness, his eyes softening as he looked at the two youngest members of his team. He knew better than anyone the sheer volume of pressure they carried on their shoulders every single day, and seeing them let their guards down so completely was a rare, precious gift. Taehyung's hand remained lightly resting on Jungkook's shoulder, a gentle, grounding touch that seemed to anchor them both against the roaring tide of 70,000 screaming football fans. The cold German air swept through the open-fronted suite, but the warmth radiating between them was palpable, a silent shield against the elements and the relentless gaze of the outside world. Jungkook, captured by a sudden burst of playful energy, nudged Taehyung's side, pointing eagerly toward a dramatic play unfolding near the goal line. But as Taehyung leaned in to look, their faces ended up mere inches apart, the bright stadium floodlights reflecting in their eyes and highlighting the genuine, unforced smiles that only ever seemed to appear when they were in each other's immediate orbit. There was an effortless, almost magnetic pull between them, a comfort built on a decade of shared struggles, late-night conversations, and the unique isolation that comes with global superstardom. In this vast, historic arena, surrounded by strangers who only knew them as icons, they were simply themselves, vulnerable, incredibly close, and entirely at peace. Taehyung reached up, gently adjusting the collar of Jungkook's heavy coat to protect him from the rising wind, a small, domestic gesture of care that spoke louder than any grand declaration ever could. Namjoon could only shake his head, a fond, dimpled smile finally breaking across his face as he watched the scene play out. He took a sip of his warm drink, deciding to give them their space, turning his attention back to the green pitch below while the two younger men continued their quiet, affectionate banter. It was in these fleeting, unscripted moments that the true heart of their journey became clear. They had conquered the world together, standing on the grandest stages on earth, but their greatest achievement was preserving this pure, unfiltered connection amidst the chaos of their lives. As the final whistle blew and the stadium erupted into a chaotic symphony of cheers and applause, Taehyung and Jungkook shared one last, lingering look of shared understanding, wrapping the blanket tighter around themselves as they prepared to step back into the spotlight, forever anchored by the quiet magic of their night in Munich.